Distinguished guests, fellows, and students. I'm Greg Clancy, Master of Tembusu College, and welcome to the 10th gathering of our Tembusu Forum. The Forum is what we like to call at the college our flagship event. Flagship is an appropriate metaphor because the Forum is the largest and most visible of a fleet of intellectual activities that occur here each semester, some organized by faculty, others by students. The smaller ships in this fleet, the Masters and Fellows Teas and other gatherings of a dozen or a couple dozen students and fellows, occur here weekly, sometimes daily, sometimes several times a day, depending on the day. There is no academic department, and I dare say any faculty, that has an as elaborate and informal academic program as we do. But to return to the Forum, it's also unique at N.U.S. and perhaps in Singapore because its target audience is not primarily professors and lecturers or graduate students, but you, undergraduates, future leaders and citizens of Singapore and many other countries, who rarely get events of this nature organized on your behalf. And all of this is delivered to you, students of Tembusu College, at no extra tuition fee. And the person who pulls this all together is not myself, but our Rector, Professor Tommy Koh, whom it's now my honor to invite to the podium to convene the forum. Professor Koh.
Thank you very much, Greg. My inspiration for convening the forum was to bring the world to the college and to bring the college to the world. So twice per semester, we would organize a forum. And this year, I had asked Margaret to poll the students to ask them what they would like us to discuss at these forums. And I was told that the students are very concerned about the tensions and increasing animosity between China and Japan. They are worried that this may lead to an accidental war between them. And I congratulate the students for their interest in this topic. And I decided to organize a forum around this topic. I would like to make three introductory remarks. I want to say, first of all, that Singapore and ASEAN are good friends of both China and Japan. And we do not take sides in this rivalry between China and Japan. Singapore's interest and ASEAN's interest is to encourage these two great countries to live at peace with each other. Singapore and ASEAN's interest is to do whatever we can to increase mutual understanding and to decrease mutual suspicion in order to avoid war. So that's the first point I want to make. We have an interest in peace between China and Japan, and we want to do whatever we can to prevent these two great countries from getting into an accidental war. My second point is that when you look at the long historical relationship between these two countries, it goes back at least 2,000 years. And for most of that period, China and Japan lived at peace with each other. There were, of course, periods when there were conflicts between them, and most notably in 1894-95 and in 1937 to 41, and then 41 to 45. So the second point I want to make is to remind all of us and to remind our Chinese and Japanese friends that for most of the 2,000 years of relations between these two great countries, they live at peace with each other. And they have a mutually beneficial relationship. Culturally, the two countries are actually very close to one another. In ancient times, Japan benefited a great deal from China. And in modern times, I would say it is the other way around. China had benefited a great deal from Japan, which many Chinese intellectuals saw as a role model of a modernized state. It is not insignificant that some of the leaders of modern China, such as Sun Yat-sen, Chiang Kai-shek, and even Zhou Enlai, had all spent time in Japan as students. My third and final point is to say that if you look at the economic relations between China and Japan today, it is a fundamentally complementary relationship. The two economies are more complementary than competitive, and this has resulted in the last 40 plus years in a very large volume of trade, investment, and other exchanges. From 1972 to I think about 2004, China was one of the largest recipients of Japanese ODA. Cumulatively, if I'm not wrong, Japan today is still the largest foreign direct investor in China. And China is Japan's number one trading partner, and Japan is China's number 3 trading partner. Japan is a major source of tourist arrivals for Japan. And in spite of the difficulties, it is astonishing to me that over half of the foreign students in Japan are from China. So it vindicates my point that in modern times, China has learned from Japan and continue to want to learn from Japan. My conclusion is that there's every good reason why China and Japan should work with each other as good neighbors should. And if the Chinese leaders and Japanese leaders are rational, they should cooperate with each other, seek mutual accommodation, and avoid conflict. But as we have learned from the history, one should never underestimate man's capacity for irrationality. And so in spite of the many logical reasons why China and Japan should be good friends and good neighbors, there's always a danger of misunderstanding, miscalculation, and conflict. A few weeks ago, I'm speaking in Davos at the World Economic Forum. Prime Minister Abe surprised many people by comparing the situation in Asia today to the situation in Europe just on the eve of the First World War in 1914. I'm not sure what the analogy is, whether Japan is England and Japan is England and China is Germany in that analogy or whatever. But the point is, Prime Minister Abe has rightly alerted us to the danger of complacency, that we cannot be complacent. That although there's every reason why China and Japan should live together as friends and neighbors, we are right to, the students are right to be concerned about the increasing acrimony between them and the danger of an accidental war. So I'm very pleased this evening that I've succeeded in inviting 3 friends to share the podium with us. My original intention was to invite the ambassador of China and Japan to join us, but they both declined my invitation. So my plan A didn't work, so I needed a plan B. It occurred to me that I should ask a friend, Mr. Peh Shing Huei, the deputy news editor of the Straits Times, to come this evening and give us a sort of Chinese perspective of Sino-Japanese relations. Why did I ask him? I asked him because he has spent 4 years as the China bureau chief of the Straits Times in Beijing. He has a deep knowledge of China, and he's also the author of a very successful book, When the Party Ends, China's Leaps and Stumbles After the Beijing Olympic Games. Mr. Peh is a very distinguished journalist. He was educated here at the U.S. and then at Columbia in New York.